We love featuring artists you should know about. Today we're heading to Illinois to chat with country rocker Joe Hermes. Joe's based in Bloomington. He grew up playing football, listening to rock music. In his late 20s, he put down the electric guitar and picked up an acoustic. His full-length album, Rockin' a Country Town, came out last year, and he just dropped a brand new single called Baptized by the South. We're excited to have Joe on the show. First, Joe, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, wow, you get back into music. You release your debut EP, Souls with Stones, back in 2020, and then COVID hits. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking that was fun, and what do I do now?
Exactly.
That was quite the unexpected surprise, like for many of us. So,
yeah.
I thought the whole chasing music career was dead and gone when that hit, and luck would have it that that also brought some other big cats off the road, and through meeting some people and got into writing. So away we went.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of turned it. You started networking, started writing more, and we'll talk about that. But let's go back because researching you, Joe, I'm like, this dude is a big dude. You played college football. Where were you at?
They moved me all over, typically on defense, but I started high school as a middle linebacker, and then they beefed me up and stuck me on the D line. I played defensive end and defensive tackle. I wasn't smart enough to be on the offensive line, so they just said go get the guy with the ball, and that's pretty much where I lived. I did one season after college with the Arena League, which you played both ways in that league. But and I realized that my future in football was coming to a close. I had enough.
I loved arena football. Who did you play for?
The Bloomington Extreme.
Okay.
They were a pretty competitive league. I'm not even sure which league they were in per se at that time. Heck, that was quite a few years ago now at this point.
Yeah. Well, that was when arena football was big, though, too.
Yes. Yeah, it was supported well over here, and I made it out to North and South Dakota. Never been to Wyoming, though, so sure I'm happy to be here with you guys at Bighorn Radio.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're on. Well, and then I heard you tell a story. You were like the youngest strength coach at a university?
Yeah, I got offered a head strength and conditioning position right out of grad school. So when I quit football, I was used to the weight room and enjoyed all of that. And it was a natural transition for me to go into strength and conditioning training. And, one of the teams I was working with opened the door for me down in Evansville, Indiana. They were looking for a head coach, and they're a smaller Division I school. So, of course, their resources were a little limited. And, well, I was the guy. So I stepped in, and away I went, and I did that for 5 or 6 years right after school.
Nice. Well, and then what are you doing now? Because you own your own business? Yeah.
So when I realized that the world of college athletics was, there was only one place to go, and that was moving around the country more. And I was at that age where I was wanting to get a family going, and so we moved back to Bloomington, Illinois, where my family and my family's business is, and I just kind of stepped in and started running a division of our laundry equipment business here, and we have some laundromats and outfit apartment buildings and things like that with washers and dryers, and been doing that for a little while now, and it pays the bills, and but it does not fill that hole of that creativity with music. So after a few years of getting back into the blue collar working world, I picked up that acoustic guitar, and away I went.
Yeah, go check Joe out. He's at joehermesmusic.com. It's Hermes. He's on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. His latest single, Baptized by the South, is out now. Well, and you growing up, I'm a rocker. You're a rocker. Now we're doing the country thing, but you were heavily influenced. You like Metallica, Pantera. You were a huge Bon Jovi fan.
Yes, sir. 100%.
Wow.
The old, I actually wrote a paper about my first Pantera concert in college there. Yeah, that whole rock world, it'll consume you, won't it?
Yeah, that's hilarious. When did you see Pantera for the first time?
Oh man, 1998.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think mine was 97.
Yeah, the Great Southern Trendkill tour there in Peoria, Illinois, home of Mudvayne.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, we could talk rock and hard rock and metal music all day long, couldn't we?
Yes, we could. I mean, Pantera, the first time I saw them, too, it was like a religious experience. It was amazing. Blew you away.
Never in my life had I felt energy like that in an arena. And it was like, what is this? And how do I get more of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was certainly an experience.
And the lights, like the backing lights. I remember I'd never seen like lights, like Vinny had the lights coming from the back of his drum.
Oh, the strobes,
yeah,
man.
Yeah, I was like, I'd never seen lights like that.
Walls of strobe lights.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course they redefined what a mosh pit is.
Oh,
that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I was a junior in high school, so I can't believe my mom let me go, but she did. I'm not even sure if I asked her, to be honest.
She didn't know what you were going to. That's.
I hope she's not listening right now, but she might be. No, that was great, and it definitely set the stage for who I am today and what I'm doing with country music. You know, as life went on and you get a little, more life and experience under your belt, and the country music starts making sense. And but I can't shake those hard rock influences. So you hear it in the style and in the voice, and it's just a part of me, and I lean into it, and I also like the storytelling and the country. So we just meshed the two, and here we are.
Well, and I think with your experiences in life, and yeah, you get a little older, and you're definitely a storyteller, listening to your stuff. But, I mean, in the country music, I mean, what do you think of country music? It's so wide open right now, because a couple of your songs I'm listening to, and I'm like, dude, how is this not rock? But, I mean, country is just wide open right now.
Yeah. I mean, my thinking on it is, I mean, look at Jelly Roll. Look at what Hardy's doing. I mean, you can listen to Hardy, and he's got a hard rock song, right next to a bro country song. I mean, it's all over the board.
Yeah.
And so I think the spirit of it is what makes sense, right? It's got to come from a place that's real, and it's got to be, relatable, to people. I mean, in the rock world, as you know, I mean, they can get out there and some of the things that they're talking about, but with country, it seems like it always is coming from a place of, spirit and family and faith and or just, hard work and blue collar faith in the American dream. And I just, I latch on to all that stuff, and it makes sense to me. So I think that's where, you listen to some older, I mean, even with George Jones, I mean, listen to the stuff he was writing about, of course, Johnny Cash, and, even into your 90s country. Look, I mean, with Toby Keith, I never realized, my mom was a diehard Toby Keith fan, and she always told me as I was growing up, I wish you'd played more like Toby Keith, and I'm sitting there playing Metallica and Pantera, and it's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, here I am, a number of years later, and Toby ends up passing away, and I started doing more research, and I'm like, man, his story is so relatable to me.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of like that, well, I guess mom was right, type of thing. So,
yeah, she knew way back then.
Well, and Toby, he was in his time was cutting edge of country rock.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so I'm not afraid to live in my own lane. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I'm not trying to, copy Hardy or copy, any of these other great artists, Morgan Wallen. I'm definitely not going to be that guy, but I feel like that there is a home for me in country music and in rock music. I mean, like you said, we've got tracks that can go either way, and we also have more tracks coming out this year that, I mean, they could go right on to rock radio, today.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's so segmented anymore. I think the lines have been blurred, and it's really just about the spirit of the music and what it's about.
Yeah, for sure. Go and check Joe's stuff out. He's at Joe Hermes. It's Hermes music.com. He's on Facebook. Go and follow him. He's on Instagram. His latest single, you're going to hear here in a minute, Baptized by the South, is out now. Well, on your bio, it says you're not afraid to look back at addiction. I saw you've been through hell. Obviously, you were pounding some whiskey. You're like 2 years sober, though, right, Joe?
Yeah. If you'll notice a theme if you go back in my catalog here from 2019. It was all about dealing with addiction and alcoholism and relationships and things like traditional country song material. And then a couple years ago, it came to a head with me, and I just running my business, being in music, having a family, something had to give. Right? I mean, it wasn't like I had this huge crash and burn or anything, like those stories, but I just had that moment where I'm like, I gotta make a decision here. And either I'm gonna, put all my efforts into what I want to be doing, or this is just gonna keep holding me down. Yeah. And so now the music is kind of in looking back at those things. You'll see songs that kind of, last summer we had a song on the radio called "Used to Be Me," and it's kind of in that same spirit. I mean, it's just acknowledging, the changes in life, and I think there's a lot of people that go through that. They look back at things they used to do, and they realize, man, that was me. That used to be me.
That used to be me, and I wasn't very smart.
Yeah, well, and then I always try to. It's easy to be real negative, and I always try to layer in a positive message in those songs. Even though it's about heavy subjects, heavy material, I'm always trying to spin it with a positive message somewhere in that song.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's worth doing and worth spending my time on. And, I mean...
Exactly. Learn from it and not dwell on it or make it a negative, like you say.
Yeah. I mean, I like writing music that... inspires me, and I feel like if it inspires me, it's going to inspire some other people out there, and that's important. I mean, the world has plenty of songs. Why do they need a song from me? And I think it's just because I need to express where I've been and where I'm at now, and be there for other people that are going through those things.
Yeah. Right before you came on, we played Skyfall, your last single. Smoke 'em if you got 'em, race you to the bottom, let that sky fall. That's an awesome line. Where'd that come from, Joe?
So I've always been that guy that, you get with a group of friends, and there's always the instigator, right? There's always the guy with the bad ideas and not afraid to jump in the fire, and it was. That's kind of who I am. That's how I've gotten into a lot of trouble in my in my days. But that song is really about accepting what's going to happen and just letting the sky fall. In this day and age of fear-mongering, social media, everything you see on the news, and it's like if you really ask yourself, what can I do about it? The answer is not much. But what you can do, or what I should be doing, is focusing on the things that are important with my family, my friends, and basically just sitting back and letting the sky fall. And I said, well, if we're going to do that, how would we go out? I'm like, well, I'd probably light up a cigar with my buddies and, just watch the thing come down. So I'd say that's probably what inspired that line.
Yeah, smoke 'em if you got 'em, race you to the bottom. Well, and your right-hand man, this Dale Oliver, your producer-manager, how did you meet Dale?
So Dale was the guy that was introduced to me through Dave Tedder, and Dave Tedder runs Head First Entertainment out of Las Vegas, and I had met Dave through my office manager, Dia, and that was right when COVID hit. And I said, man, I'm wanting to get in and write with some people. And Dave knew one guy down in Nashville, and it was Dale. And I didn't know Dale from, the guy walking down the street. And just told him what I wanted to be doing, and showed up to his house and realized that he's a multi-Grammy Award-winning producer. and I'm like, well, hell, I guess we're going to see where this goes. And, he put me in touch with some people in his circle, some writers, and, we just started hanging out and writing music. And we're still doing that. And it's great. No matter what's going on, I can go down and meet with Dale and or one of his buddies, and we always just crank out something great.
Yeah. Well, the latest something great that they cranked out, Baptized by the South. And this is a cool story because you could have done Baptized by Wyoming. I mean, this is like the same thing with Wyoming. You come to Wyoming, people are nice. They try and take care of you. They're looking out for you. Tell us the story behind Baptized by the South.
So I live in Bloomington, Illinois, like you said, 2 hours south of Chicago, right? And we got a lot of big city attitudes around here, and a lot of people, they just keep to themselves, keep their head down, and do their thing. Well, I'm used to that, right? And that's what I loved about Nashville was some of that Southern hospitality. But when I went on a radio tour through the South, I spent 3 weeks on the road. I was blown away the deeper into the South I got. There's a lot of times the South gets a bad rap from Northerners for reasons we won't talk about here, but it is so far from the truth. And it was one of those things. Dale calls me. I'm on the road, and he says, "How you doing, man?" And I said, "Dude, this is awesome. I love it down here. The scenery is great. The people are great. We got these rough and tough cowboys holding the door for me. Hey, sir, how you doing? How's your day? Let me get that for you." It's just like, I'm like, where am I, and how do I get more of this?
Yeah.
And
where's this love coming from?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, this is what the world needs. This is what needs to be broadcasted across this nation, not all this other, just stuff that we're seeing. And, it was just so nice to see that people still have their priorities straight. And, so when I got back off the road, Dale's like, "Hey, dude, I've been working on this song off that conversation we talked about." And he played me the track that he was building and the lyrics that he was starting on. And I'm like, I just sunk my teeth into it. I'm like, dude, this has got it all. I mean, it's got the Southern hospitality. It's got football. It's got faith. It's got pride in your country. It's got like a little bit of darkness to it in a way too, because there is a lot of that still happens. I mean, with we even up here in Illinois. I mean, with farmers, and I mean, good buddy of mine from my hometown, just died in a farming accident last year, and it was like it just hit home. And I came down to Nashville about a week later and sang it in about 2 passes. And Dale looks at me, he's like, "Dude, what got into you?" I'm like, "I'm just feeling this, man. I'm feeling it." And we've been chomping at the bit to get this song out. So, last week it came out, and here we are.
Yeah, here he is. Baptized by the South. You're going to hear it here in a second. That's cool, though. That's how in tune you and Dale are. I mean, he's reading your mind. And
oh, man, he really is like my best friend. I mean, we talk daily. He's a mentor. He's been there. He's done it all. He's played with the best of the best. He is one of the best of the best. And it's just like, I mean, I couldn't have asked for, a better guy in my corner.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Joe's got a ton of stuff coming up. I mean, have we recorded multiple songs? What's happening?
Oh, man, we've got we've got about an album's worth ready, just sitting in the wings.
Nice.
Our biggest challenge right now is deciding which songs come out when, and
yeah,
it's a good problem to
that's
have,
a good
right?
problem, exactly.
So yeah, I mean, we got Baptized out now, and then I think by July we're going to have 2 more out, and then whether we keep releasing them one at a time for the rest of the year, or if we throw them all onto an album and release it, we're not sure yet. But I'll tell you, I think it's going to open some eyes, and the people that enjoy both country and the rock world are going to latch onto this, and they're going to relate to things that I haven't personally heard a whole lot of, and I'm just excited. Every time I play some of these, for the inner circle here, people, their eyes open up. They're like, "Dang, that's cool."
Yeah, that's awesome. Lots more stuff coming. Go and check him out, joehermesmusic.com. He's playing Tuesday at the Live Oak in Nashville, and if you're listening to this in Illinois, it hasn't been announced yet, but he's opening for Casey Donahue next Friday in Springfield, Illinois.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Got the call last night. So
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's always got to be cool to play in Illinois.
Yeah, we play quite a bit here in the hometown. I mean, as much as we can without overplaying it. And we've got in June we made it on the Tailgate and Tall Boys bill with Cody Johnson on Cody Johnson's night. I mean, we're super excited about that night. But yeah, it's just being here. I mean, I'm really usually either in Bloomington or in Nashville, and then getting out on the road for visiting radio stations, and I mean, I'm just trying to claw my way up there, into people's line of sight.
Exactly. Go and check him out. Go and following. Big things coming from Joe. Here is Baptized by the South. Joe, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Bighorn Radio.
It's Joe Hermes. It's Baptized by the South. It's KIX 96.5.